Hello and welcome back to the channel and welcome to the start of the weekly Star Trek Strange New Worlds reviews. Now, this is being uploaded far later than I had intended. I just had difficulties with apps and all that not working properly, but I got it working and I just finished the episode. So, Season 2, Episode 1, The Broken Circle. What did I think of this episode? I thought it was okay. As an opening, as an opener, I thought it was okay. But the as I was watching it, and the more I was thinking about it, what it essentially is, and it's a kind of a wrap up of the Earth Klingon War that we've seen in season 1 of Discovery. I felt that it should have been a season 1 episode of Strange New Worlds. Um, but I'll get to that. So, what is this episode about? Well, this takes place a couple of months after the end of season 1, where we're back on space dock, and Captain Pike decides to go to basically try and help get his number one um, out of prison, for being in prison for being one of the races that deals with genetic engineering, which is against Starfleet's policy. And he decides to leave his number two in charge, which is Lieutenant Spock. And whilst he's away, whilst they're doing some retrofitting to the Enterprise, they get a quick distress signal from La'an, who, at the end of season 1 went on shore leave or leave from the Federation itself, and it has to do with the Klingons. Yes, the Klingons are back after not being seen since season 2 of Star Trek Discovery. And they're back with another brand new design that's kind of more in tone with the next generation Klingon design. And it's far better than the design that we did get in Discovery. It's no contest that this design that we see should have been the original designs that we seen back in Discovery Season 1. Anyway, so turns out that there's a planet that has been every 30 days is either governed by the Federation or the Klingon, because it's a dilithium mining planet, and it's now in control of the Klingons for the next 30 days. And La'an has been finding out that there's a black market for Federation parts, Federation weapons, everything and everything Federation. And she believes it's because what she has discovered is that the Klingons, as well as some ex-Federation military, are sick and tired of peace, because it's not good for business. Because when the war was on, profits were up. They sound like Ferengi. So they want to basically get start a new war, because basically, if the Federation is in charge and a Klingon ship shows up, that's an act of war. Or in this case, with the Klingons being in charge of the planet, if a Federation ship shows up, then it's an act of war. So the Enterprise has to hide to not be detected, and it turns out that these rogue ex-Federation or Federation and Klingons are building their own starship, and it's a kit bash of a starship. The saucer section is of a crossfield, which is mentioned in the episode, and it's a weird design, but I actually like it, as because it reminds me essentially of a Miranda class style of ship, where later on, in the motion picture era movies, we have the refit Enterprise, and then we have a Miranda class, which is basically a kit bash of the Constitution refit. And then later on in TNG, we have the Galaxy class, and then we have all the other versions of, kit bashes of the Galaxy class, like the New Orleans class, the Nebula class, which is the one we see the most of, etc., etc. So this seems like a Miranda style of a crossfield class, which again, like I said, I think I like the design. I'm a ship guy. I like my ships. Anyway, so yeah, the ship ends up flying with the medical professionals of Membenga. I've definitely said his name wrong, as well as Nurse Chapel, and they get captured. They're on the ship. They send out a distress signal for the Enterprise to destroy the ship because whilst as the ship takes flight, a D7 battle cruiser shows up, and I love the look of this the D7 design in this, and the Enterprise eventually destroys the ship, and they rescue Mbenga as well as Nurse Chapel. Spock shows his emotions because in episode 10 he let loose on a lot of his emotions and he's struggling to keep it in check. Which is why in the beginning of the episode, actually, the Doctor gives Spock the musical instrument that he uses in Charlie X, um, which I thought it was neat. As I'm watching the original series for the first time and now watching this, I'm starting to pick up on these little things that I didn't notice before because I hadn't watched the original series. Um, so yeah, the episode ends, with Spock trying to convince the Klingon captain of the D7 cruiser that this isn't an actual act of war, and in order to prove that, he drinks blood wine with them and gets extremely hungover, and then it's revealed at the end of the episode that there's potentially a new war going to be happening with the Gorn hegemony, which I don't know how I feel about that. I don't know how I feel about the that because from what I know, no one has ever seen what a Gorn looks like until the original series episode Arena, when Kirk fights the Gorn captain in that. So I don't know. I don't know how I feel about that. Maybe it could just be a war where they just don't see what they look like. How, like in the Earth Romulan War, they never saw what a Romulan looked like. That's why when in the original series episode Balance of Terror, it was such a shock to see that they were so close to Vulcans. But yeah, overall, I thought it was a good episode. But as I said, bringing back up the Earth Romulan War that ended in season 1 of Discovery, we see a bit of it in season 2 of Discovery. Kind of felt like it should have been in season 1 of Strange New Worlds. I felt like the episode would have fit better in that, because it's in season 1. If memory serves correct, it's only been a few months since the end of season 2 of Discovery, so it would have made plenty more sense for it to appear in season 1. But it's still like a good opener. I didn't think this was going to be the opening episode. At first, because when the trailer started coming out, they also showed a clip of next week's episode, which is the trial of Unichin Riley, for being the genetic modified person that she is. But yeah, that's been my thoughts on this episode. Let me know what you thought of this episode in the comments down below, and I will see you next Thursday for another brand new episode of Strange New Worlds. I'll see you all next time.